Hello, is that Graham?
Speaking.
Hello, Mr. Gouldman. It's Steve here from the Cumbria Guide.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. How are you?
I'm very good.
Hey, well, look, I'm not going to bore you for keep you on too long. As soon as you get bored, just say, I've had enough. don't just hang up, like, you know, give us one.
Right, I'm bored now. Go on.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like, it's okay. Yeah, 50 years, congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, can't believe it. Actually, it's very strange because the time seems to have gone very quickly.
I mean, when you got together back in '72, I wasn't even born then.
Yes.
What was the plan?
There was no plan. That was the plan. We just had our studio. We wrote and recorded what we liked. Eventually, you know, we did something that we thought, oh, this could be interesting for somebody, and it went on from there, really. And that really was, I think, in a way, why it worked for us is because we didn't want to follow any trends. We basically wrote and recorded what we liked for ourselves, and unfortunately, other people liked it as well.
I know it sounds a bit cheesy, like, but I mean, these songs are timeless. What do you put that down to?
I don't know. I suppose we never followed any trends, so they're quite they're in their own sort of niche, you know. I think that's why they seem to have stood the test of time because they didn't follow any trends. So it's not like they were disco songs or whatever. I mean, and even those songs they can stand the test of time if they're big hits, I suppose. But there is some sort of quality about them that just seems to work, and that's why, you know, we can still tour them today, and people want to hear those songs. And
you'll have 3-4 generations at your gigs.
Yeah, well, we were already seeing like the next generation. Now we're seeing the third generation. That's really gratifying. But you know, because of the internet and everything, and Spotify and streaming and downloading, you know, these songs are so accessible to everybody. That's the kind of the upside of that side of the business.
Accessible and good. So you know, that helps. I mean, I've got to ask you because I mean, you're a master songwriter. But out of all of them tracks, 10cc, what's your personal favourite? What would you take away with you? If you have to burn them all, you've got one track that you can only save one track. What would it be and why?
Well, I've got can I answer it like a politician and say, what the question you should be asking is, what are the two songs that you think represent 10cc? Actually, the problem is, seriously, there's no one song that sort of represents us. Of course, I'm Not in Love will be the most famous song, but you know, like, and that always. You know, when we start playing that, you know, you can feel the kind of a rush in the crowd. But the kind of most fun one to play is Rebel Holiday, because everyone knows the chorus.
Yeah.
So that's always good. And, but, you know, I love them all.
Okay, fair dude. Do you get nervous at all about going on stage and playing or not?
Yes, I do a little bit. And if I didn't, I would stop doing it. It means I don't really care. And I like the nerves. I mean, there are times when I'm at the side of the stage ready to go on and I'm thinking to myself, I don't need to do this. Why are you doing this? And then I go on and I'm going, oh yeah, I know why I'm doing it.
Obviously, I mean, it's been well reported, you know, there was you and Eric and Godly Cream writing. Do you know when you were actually choosing what to go on to a record? Was there like real tension and competitiveness? No, not really. I have to say, very, very rarely. There was the odd thing. But generally, we agreed because whoever came up with a suggestion, we try that out, and if it didn't work, then you could say, fair enough, that idea didn't work. Because we were very, you know, we all had the right to try whatever idea we wanted. So no one was
and that held us, you know, in very good stead. There was no one that was making the decisions for everybody. We agreed on everything together.
Cool.
Or disagreed.
Okay. I mean, go back in time. Your Alpha Raimi, he was a poet. I've read that. He was,
Well, he was a poet. He was a playwright. He wrote stories, and he was a massive help to me with the lyrics that I wrote for the particular, you know, in the early days, the songs I wrote for other artists in the 60s. he was very, very involved in that.
Yeah, would you class yourself as a poet? And is
No.
playing simply an extension of that?
I class myself as I write music and I write lyrics. The lyrics aren't poetry because I don't think the lyrics would necessarily stand up without the music. There are people like Joni Mitchell and Paul Simon who, when you read their lyrics, will read like poetry.
Right,
but I don't think any of our stuff does. And it's not being detrimental to it. It's just that there has to be the marriage between the music and the lyric to make it work.
Okay. You touched on there when you were writing for others. Obviously, it's well reported. You know, you're over the Hollies, Eminem, and Yardbirds. Who was your favourite band out of them?
I've got a soft spot for the Hollies, I have to say. I thought they were a fantastic band.
Well, they're Manchester lads, aren't they?
Yeah, Stockport originally, I think.
Oh, posh Manx, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, not as posh as it could have been, but getting towards poshness.
Okay, fair enough. As a songwriter, because again, you're building to what you do. What advice would you give to someone?
Try and write something from the heart, from your own experience. It'll feel more genuine when other people hear it. And also try to be original. Don't go, oh, well, that's in the charts now, so I better do it at 120 beats per minute and do this or have that sound. Just be yourself. Okay. And if that works, then you're onto something. But to follow trends I don't think is a good idea. I mean, listen, I'm saying that's a good idea. That's my personal opinion. Maybe there are people that do it and make are very, very successful. But that's my advice. All
right. Well, look, you're 64 plus Matt, right?
Yes.
Right. And that's what it is. I've done the math. You've been asleep for half your life as well, so 32. 32 plus Matt. There you go. You're springing your step there, Graham. You're about to embark on 24 concerts. Yeah. 24 dates. Does that fill you with dread?
No, I'm looking forward to it. If you think about what it's going to be like, you might say, well, blimey, that's quite a lot of travelling and a lot of this. Actually, the easiest part is the playing. It's the travelling that can be a bit tiring.
Yeah.
But no, you get an extra energy. You get an energy from, first of all, being with the musicians that I've worked with, some of them since the 70s.
Yeah.
Being with them, we're very good friends. We really enjoy each other's company. A lot of banter, a lot of funny things happen. Yeah. And the actual doing the gigs, which I love doing, you get an energy from that as well. And from the audiences, of course. So it's not as daunting as you think it is. And if it was daunting, then also I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to do it.
Oh, fair dues. Now, obviously, Gouldman, you're from Jewish heritage.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you read Simon Sebag Montefiore?
Yeah, of course.
And have you read that book, Jerusalem, the biography?
I haven't, no.
Right.
He's a wonderful writer, yeah.
Yeah, well, I picked it up about 10 years ago, and it's just superb. And I was driving along before, and I thought, you know what, I wonder if he knows this guy or if he's read that book, because it is amazing.
No, I haven't, but I do know of him, of course.
Have you ever played over there in Israel and that?
Yes, we played I was with Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band.
Yeah.
In 2018, we did 2 concerts in Tel Aviv.
How was Ringo?
It was great. Oh, yeah, he was great.
It's funny, actually, because I was listening to the track that you just done there with Brian May, Flowing in Heaven.
Yeah.
And vocally, it reminded me of George Harrison.
Really?
Yeah.
That is a real compliment. I have to say, it's funny you should say that, because someone said it sounded like McCartney, and someone else said it sounded like a John Lennon song. So I'm going to take all those 3 compliments and put them together and say thank you very much.
Yeah, it really is. It has got that Beatley thing running through it. And towards the end, you've got them floating keys like you find on I'm Not in Love as well, just delicately in the background. Yeah,
I did use that idea. I thought it would be a good production idea for that track.
Yeah, how did that come about? Because a couple of people asked me, Tom Caton from Measurements, said, how did that combo come about with you and Brian?
So when the telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope, was launched last Christmas, and I started following it on the NASA website and became, enchanted by the whole thing. I thought it was fantastic, and was moved to write a song about it from the point of view of being the telescope. I played it to Andrew Campbell from my record company, Lodgings. They put out my last solo album, Modesty Forbids. And I said, I've written it. I sent him the song. He said, I absolutely love this song. It's fantastic. He said, but what it could do with, why don't you get someone like Brian May to play on it? Because because not only is he a brilliant guitarist, but he's also an astronomer and an astrophysicist. So anyway, I did, and Brian he said, I absolutely love this track. I want to play on it. And he played on it. He did some backing vocals. He came up with production ideas as well. He's been very, very involved in it. So, and it's opened up loads of stuff that we've done with, like NASA are using it on one of their videos. And it's been absolutely fantastic. That's how it came about.
Right, okay. Neil Campbell, who's in Australia, he wants to know, he's from Kirkdale where I'm from, in Liverpool. It's a bit like Salford, that area, by the way. His response when I put out there, it was City or United? Well, it was City or United. That's what he wants to know.
United.
Oh, we can do something about that, We can get you some tablets, don't worry. There was another guy here, GP. Do you ever speak to the other guys, Eric or Lol, or out like that?
The only person I speak to regularly is Kevindley. And in fact, on the 10cc, on tour, we have our own sort of videos. Kevin has produced and directed 3 videos for us. One of which he's singing on the video, and we're playing live, backing him on a song called Somewhere in Hollywood.
All right.
So he actually appears with us.
With regards to your own solo stuff, have you got anything coming out yourself, Graham?
Well, I'm thinking about doing another solo album. It's just a matter of finding the time, because there's just such a lot of gigs on, and promoting stuff for the Floating in Heaven record as well. But I will do another album. I mean, the last one I put out in 2020, the Modesty Forbids album, and I've sort of slowly started to compile some, the songs that I'm going to record and then pick out the best ones for the album. So the answer is yes, but I have no idea when.
And finally then, where was your very first gig? Your gig, you playing to an audience?
At school.
That's cool.
At school, at primary school, we had a talent show, and it was sort of in the skiffle era.
Okay.
Right, and we had a bloke who had a guitar. I didn't say he could play the guitar, but he had a guitar, and I was playing some sort of weird drum thing, and someone else was playing a pole with a bit of string on it, tied onto a box to make a kind of a weird sort of bass sound, and God knows what it sounded like, but that was the first.
Did you have a name or not?
I don't think we did. I know that one of the early bands, there was the High Spots and the Cravats. I mean, the Cravats, can you think of a worse name for a band? It's terrible.
These 2 lads that you played with, can you remember the names?
Joel Brown and Gordon someone. I can't remember the other guy's name.
And Gordon. So basically...
Joel and Gordon. Goldman, Gordon and Joel and Brown.
Right, okay. So that band then, that was bad drums, awful guitar, terrible stringy thing. How did it not make it? What happened? I
don't know. I think like EMI and, Decca and all the major Warner Brothers and, Universal, they all missed a trick there. I don't know. They're lost.
They're lost. Right, Graham, you have been an absolute pleasure. Wishing you the very best of luck with the tour. I hope you love it. Much. And remember, 64 plus that, but you've been asleep for half of that time, mate.
I might use that.
Have a good day, man.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right.
Cheers.